Hey guys, God bless. Welcome back to my channel. I am Charlene, and today I just wanted to talk to you all about having a simple yet heartfelt quiet time, or as I've been calling it lately, quality time with the Lord. I have recently simplified my quiet time. I have taken away a lot of the guilt, a lot of the shame. I've removed resources that weren't being used. I went to square one. I wanted to get the job done. I wanted to walk away knowing God more, strengthening my relationship with Him, and not feeling like I didn't do enough. This was brought to my attention after I realized that I tried to incorporate so many resources, so many tools, and I had set a very high, almost impossible standard of quiet time for daily use. I messed up big time, and I began to feel down and inadequate, and I began to feel like a failure. I didn't like how I felt, because not only did it discourage me before I even could get my new day started with God, but it began to feel like a burden, and I did not want that to happen. And I'm making this video because I don't want it to happen to you either. And I just want to give you a few tips and a few reminders to help you to have that quality time that includes quiet and be effective. First things first, I want you to analyze all the different materials you have. This may take a whole day. For me, it actually took a couple weeks where I went in and I said, you know what? A lot of my materials or the overwhelming amount of choices causes me anxiety, and it was a distraction because I had multiple planners, I had multiple notebooks, I had multiple Bibles, multiple pens, multiple highlighters. And although they were somewhat organized, it was the fact that in those moments when I began to sit down and say, now what? I couldn't quite decide. And it would take up a huge amount of time to figure out which set of highlighters, which set of pens, which notebook, which Bible. It was so much, and it was so stressful. And by the time usually that I would get to the end of resolving what I actually wanted to use for that day, my day or the time I had set aside was almost over. So then my day was unfruitful, so to speak. It didn't do anything for me or my time with God. It didn't help me. I just walked away feeling overwhelmed and stressed. These are feelings that you should not feel towards having a quiet time with God. Another thing I would often do was I felt anxious and rushed because I'm trying to hurry up and get it in while Bella's asleep, or I had to pick and choose my battles. I'm like, okay, Bella's taking a nap, or all the kids left out with Dad. Do I record a video or do I spend time with God? Let me just say that I'm going back to what I said a long time ago, which I never really changed that mindset. But for me, I'm speaking for me, it just made sense to give God my first fruit, which means the earliest part of my day, before anybody could interrupt me, before anybody wakes, was best for me. And yes, I had kind of got lazy or started procrastinating because getting up early isn't easy. It isn't easy for even the morning person sometimes that's always on the go. And with school starting back and things being all new and refreshed, it began to get really hard and really complicated until I simply said, you know what? I need to make this a priority. And my main thing was, yes, you can read the Bible, you can color, you can draw and do all these things throughout the day, but we cannot fail to neglect the quiet in quiet time. Like I said, the broad name, quiet time, includes the Bible reading, the praying, the studying, the reflecting, the coloring, the drawing, the art. It includes all those things. However, quiet is important and it should be a priority factor because this is a time where you sit, you reflect, you think, you ponder, and this is a time where God can speak because you're not busy. There's not a lot of noise and distractions, and you can focus on what he truly is trying to get you to understand and see through his word. Because again, the whole point of quiet time is to get to know our God and to spend time with him. And I must admit, at one point, I got to a place where it became a really selfish moment where I'm like, all right, everybody, be quiet, leave me alone. This is for me. And I failed to realize that it is never about me. It is for the glory to God. I'm trying to get to know my Father so that I can better serve those around me, so that I can better serve those around me and better love them and value them and appreciate them and teach them and correct them and all those beautiful things. But in those moments where I'm just so frustrated and aggravated, I got to a point where I'm like, I didn't get my time with God the way I want it to be. So now I'm mad, I'm frustrated, I'm angry with everyone, I'm irritable, and it made for a very disastrous day. Because however you set that mood in the beginning, it usually follows you for the rest of your day. And again, I will try to get things done in the morning. And then even worse, if I try to fit things in throughout the day and put everything else on the back burner, I start to feel guilty because according to my word, I need to take care of my home and children. And that is work. And that is pleasing unto the Lord. And I can never, ever, and I shouldn't size these two things up. Because once you do that, one is going to get neglected and neither should get neglected. It's all about planning and prioritizing. Make the best of every moment. Simplify if you have to. Like I said in this particular video, I simply said, hey, I'm going to do my faith planner. I have my prayer Bible and I have my 60 days of prayer. Nothing too hard, nothing too over the top. Something very simple, yet very productive. And what I've been trying to do as of late is to incorporate everything. Like instead of having 3 different journaling tools or 3 different devotions, I try to keep things relative. And this helped me as well because I wasn't pulling and plucking from 1,000 different verses. I was within the same area of my Bible, so it wasn't a whole lot of flipping back and forth, a whole lot of grab this, do that. That's another thing too, because we have so many options and choices that it can be a burden. Which Bible today? Which notebook today? Which pen today? Which highlighter today? Which video should I watch? Which commentary should I use? And by all means, I'm not saying that having these options is a bad thing because we are really, really blessed. But I'm also saying that if you don't have a handle on this, where you actually take a moment in a non-stress moment environment and say, hey, what is my plan for today? Or what is my plan for the week? Or what is my plan for the month? It just matters that you have a plan and you don't want to neglect that plan because you jump back into, well, maybe this one or maybe that one. And of course, with everything, you want to pray. Pray about what tools you're going to use, what book of the Bible you're going to read today. Pray about everything. And God surely does lead you where you need to go. And I also know and see, and I've learned, even my husband learned this past week from a very dear pastor of his, that God is in the plan. God gave you your mind. He gave you your thought process. He gave you your walk. He gave you access to the tools that you have. He allowed everything to happen. So you making a plan will always be a good thing. The Bible said, don't be anxious or worry about tomorrow, but it's so many scriptures that encourage you to be a planner, to plan ahead, to be productive. You can be concerned enough where you set things in order. Anxiety is where you worry and you stress about what's going to happen, what's to come, and what you're going to do about it. But planning gives you structure. It gives you discipline. And it's in the discipline that God can lead you and he can guide you and he can certainly talk to you. Because in your heart, you have set up your mindset in a way where he can definitely say, hey, I know you planned for this, but let's do that. Or the plan was this. Let's roll with it. Or let me help you, let me guide you, because God knows best, right? He's all knowing. So what better mentor, what better guide or coach than God himself to lead us and direct us in our quiet time, because it's about him and he knows what will help us to get to know him and to get to know him in a way that not only do we benefit, but also those around us, which is a really, really beautiful thing. And I just want to leave on a very encouraging note that God is with you every moment of the day. You don't necessarily need the desk. You don't necessarily need the corner. You don't necessarily need a basket or a bag or a certain organized cart, or you don't need all these extravagant things. You need a heart and a mind and the will to do. And he will take care of the rest. He will lead and guide you. I just want to leave that to you. I absolutely love y'all, and I thank y'all for listening to me. And I pray the next time you have a quiet time that you pray about it. Love you. God bless. Take care. Bye.